in the 2022 election, the youth turnout was the lowest.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, many young people didn't even go to vote. And 2022, sorry.
2022.
Yes.
Najua nimeanza kufikiria nilikuwa wapi. 2002.
The past elections. The young people who went to vote were very small margin, and we said that's fine. It has always been like that in Kenya. These are people who let's plan this country for them, as we've always done. The guys who voted.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Tangawizi. I am your super host, Caroline Momanyi. I surely did miss you. I was looking forward to today because we are going to unpack a very, very interesting conversation, and we have the right people for it.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the podcast. My name is Dorsila. I hope you're enjoying the conversations that we've been having. I'm going to give it over to our guest for the day. They'll introduce themselves, tell us why they have their name on their shirt.
and if we can also get
something. Karibu.
So hi everyone, this is Kuria. So sometimes you don't need that introduction when you're having. So one of the reasons I have my name on the t-shirt, it makes it easy for any kind of introduction. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. That is usually a statement every advocate must make.
Really?
Because we worked hard for that.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we worked hard not to even practice law, but to actually say advocates of the High Court of Kenya.
Like pronouncing it, am I what?
I'm an advocate of the High Courts of Kenya.
You can't even say
practice that. You have to practice that.
No, you can't say that.
It's long.
Oh,
but I can't say it.
Oh.
I am actually not an advocate of the High Courts of Kenya.
Wow.
I am just
a Kenyan.
A citizen. Patriotic, for that matter.
Let's go back to the advocate. You were saying?
Apart from that, I am the proprietor, Korean company advocates. Aside from that, I also run East and Central Africa's second largest legal repository. It's called Sheria Zote. Aside from that, I'm also a patron at Liran's community-based football club. Yes, that is me in a very small nutshell. Yes. If I remember something else, I'll let you know.
Imagine we have time.
Yeah,
we have time. We have time for all that. No, we are utterly honored to have you here.
Yes.
I think you are the second person in the legal sphere. I didn't know how to refer to the other learned friends, so I don't want to get myself apologize. We are sending you an order. I can't even. So we are actually honored, and I think I don't think you are very much the right person that we need for this conversation. Yes. And we've just been unpacking how identity across the lifespan looks like. And how it impacts young people and those that are around them.
Yes.
And we have just, we've gone round and looked at the health part. We've looked at, them being Africans. How does that look on their identity? And we thought it would be good to kind of take time today to reflect on the now. What are some of those experiences that we have seen in our own country where these young people are in the forefront? They are, amplifying conversations. Yes. How is all that impacting who they are? How are they showing up? So I don't know. Have we seen this? Am I painting a familiar picture? Did we wake up one day and go like, by the way, they are youth in this country?
Personally, for me, I feel like it's something that's always been budding. And of course, as a young person, I don't think I have been raised around a space whereby, we are fighting for our rights, or we want the right thing to be done, or we want, you get. So I feel like this is something that I have come to experience way later into my youth journey, whereby, like, I actually am interested in politics, and then you're not taking this apolitical stance where you're like, politics doesn't affect me. As long as I can do this and this, I'm okay. I don't care what these politicians are doing, what they're saying, and all of that. And actually understanding the fact that systems also affect me, as someone who is existing in this system, whether as a young person who's trying to build my life and to realize, okay, actually, there's so many bottlenecks and they're also very systemic, and I actually have a right and I can speak about it, and my voice actually matters and it counts. And I also feel like the coming up of social media has validated the voices of young people, whereby, you know, if I say it and 50,000 more people say it, you're like, actually, there's a point there. Yeah, so I feel like for a lot of young people with technology, with all these things, there's a lot of validation in the fact that we actually see these things, they exist, they don't just exist like in a vacuum, they're actually there, and we can speak about it, and we can form some form of solidarity together to ask for something. Yeah, so
I don't know.
that's how I view it.
Have you seen that there are young people in this country? Ilikufikia lini?
Let me say something very diabolical. In the 2022 election, the youth turnout was the lowest. Actually, many young people didn't even go to vote. And 2022, sorry.
2022.
Yes.
Najua nimeanza kufikiria nilikuwa wapi. 2002.
The past elections. The young people who went to vote were very small margin, and we said that's fine. It has always been like that in Kenya. These are people who let's plan this country for them, as you've always done. The guys who voted. All of a suddenly, 2024, they're in the streets. Demanding change, demanding accountability, demanding. I'm like, bro, we are the ones the people who voted are the ones who are supposed to be demanding for that change. But we didn't do that. So these young people, they have been watching from wherever, I don't know, from wherever they have been, social media, I don't know. And they were out there asking for that change that we hope to have gotten in the past election. Yeah. It has always been ngojeni kwanza, let the president finish his term. We remove and get someone who can work for us. And then people are saying no, he doesn't have to. I mean, he doesn't have to we don't have to wait, to put that change. You can still have our voice out there.
Wow.
So that's how I see it, yes.
I think for me, I saw it a bit earlier. And I would say within the spaces of youth participation, which were not within the political sphere. They were in representation where matters health were concerned.
Yes.
So for me, I would say that was in my time where you saw that, it's okay for you. Actually, you are allowed to be young and involved. And I know representation was not so much at that point. Like, there was so much work that went into it. In that space, young people would not only be the ones that are receiving the programs that were designed, but they got to be involved and engaged in the designing, in the decision making. So I could say it was kind of a space that was preparing young people to embrace having a voice, using their voice, representing themselves. And for me, the only thing that I never saw actively then was how you can now move that across to the civic space, for example. Like, it wasn't something that is attractive, that I was looking forward to, like, hey, I would like to understand in my ward, in in my constituency, where can I go and, participate in a whatever club or, gathering that would enable me raise my voice, or even if it was necessary.
Yes.
Like, I came from an era where I felt like it was okay. There was somebody else doing it for me.
Yes.
I didn't really have to do it. So for me, waking up in last year to see that, I was like, wow, I have never seen such a thing in my life.
Yes.
Never. And I can say that the youth that I saw in last year is a youth that I was reading about. That you are supposed to have a voice. You are supposed to stand up. You're supposed to be seen. For me, that is what I saw. I was like, wow, this is what they were referring to. This is what it means to have a voice. So I could say there's a spark, there was an inspiration that was like, wow, it's possible. You can use your voice. Yeah.
I think for me, a realization that came through, because I believe last year, time like now, this is when people were on the streets protesting and demanding for certain things. And I think when you are up until 18 years of age, you're shielded and you're guarded. Depending on where you're coming from, yeah? So there's someone else providing something for you. But now, when you're 18, for most of us, is when now you actually go out there and you're trying to do things for yourself. And then when you go out there, you realize, actually, I am not able to do anything. I'm trying to get a job. I'm not getting a job. I'm trying to start a business. Starting a business is hectic. I'm trying to do internships. You're being told you have to come and work for free, and all these things are happening and you're not able to fend for yourself. You're not able to take care of yourself. Then you realize, actually, these systems don't work for me. And then also the idea of a godfather, you have to have someone to push you in, and realizing not every one of us has that quote unquote privilege. Yeah. And at some point I realized, I feel like the values that the young people have, they're willing to say, I'd rather work hard doing the right thing than work hard, get my things really fast, and every other person is struggling around me. So it doesn't benefit me if I am the only one who's benefiting. Because it means you have more people to take care of. So because I believe you all come from families where you have that one uncle who perhaps has the money, and he's expected to be the person you go to when you want a job or when you want to be placed somewhere, and I feel like that generation really idolized this godfather mentality.
Wait a minute. That uncle, that uncle is the one who used to ask you for your CV atakutafutia mahali.
Exactly.
And he kept hope alive. Because you were born in that town. You had never even stepped out of that town. So he was the only one who had connections to the outside world.
Yeah.
That uncle was powerful.
And they are powerful in that sense.
Yeah.
But then again, young people are like, okay, but if I take this opportunity from this godfather, it means you're indebted to this godfather.
Yes.
But for me, my question is, and the identity that we're seeing in real time goes against that.
Exactly.
Like, how did they get here? Because actually, for me, I was in shock because we would intern for free and we are okay and would not complain until kitu kijitokeleze kijipange tu niandikwe job sasa. Na kama haita work up, I'll still go and repeat the same thing. I won't even complain. So where did this sense of urgency come from? And I know you touched Kuria around it kidogo, highlighting something even I'd never thought about, that the turnout was very low. And whatever we have seen a couple of years later, you're like, hey?
Where were they?
Yeah. Where did that sense of urgency come from?
I think they're disturbing, of course, the system.
Okay.
Because, getting from what she said, that we're used to a particular way of life. Probably our parents were used to that way of life. And this goes to millennials. Millennials, we were taught, finish school, get a degree, go to church and pray, and then things will be okay for you. That's not the truth, Things will never. Someone was even saying, I think the broke generation is millennials.
Millennials, right?
Guys,
and then Gen Zs are saying, no, we can't go through the same steps. They're not working. Are you brave enough to say they're not working? Yes. So they came out and said, hey, this is not working. We're going to question this particular thing. Growing up, look at our parents, even questioning the church. You couldn't question the church as in, or not grounds. You, whatever you're being given, follow that.
Yeah.
But then people are saying, no, why should you not question it? And come to think about it, why should you not question stuff? If something is not working, question it.
Lakini, hata kama tuko na hizi generational segmentations, Gen Zs, millennials and whoever's, sote tumeenda through similar education. Like the environment is the same. The environment hasn't changed.
Definitely.
The oppression that we are experiencing now, it didn't start yesterday.
Yes.
It has existed. So for me, it's like, where did this grit come from? Like where did it come from? Like all of a sudden, and I admire it. I just love it. It's like, wow, you are in tune with what is happening, and you have agency to do something about it within your capacity.
I think it was coming. The timing.
So it's momentum.
Yes, momentum. Okay. If you look at the historical of this country, 1992, then come to 2002, when the Moi regime fell. I mean, it was just a matter of timing. Unfortunately, for the people in power, bahati mbaya, imewapata. Definitely it was supposed to come. It will get here at some point. Yes.
So it's even the just organic evolution of a society.
Definitely.
That all societies in the world, they go through this. This is a phase that we also must go through.
Yes.
But also, like, as Kuria said, I feel like also it's not bahati mbaya. It's just do the job you're paid for.
Yes.
As it is. We've all had to show up somewhere, and we're being given money at the end of delivering. So we're just like, just deliver. Yeah? Whatever challenges are there, do what you can, present the challenges. You get? So for me, I also do believe it's about timing, and the time has come to reckon. Yeah, like I feel like also social media, technology, the fact that we can see other countries succeed and do things and move, and we are wondering what is so different about this country. Why can't we move? Why is it that we are not moving? Because when you get on your Instagram, you not only see Kenyans, you see people in Uganda, you see people in Switzerland, you see people in the States, you see people. And we're like, why do we as a country feel like we can't get to a certain place? Why is it that we can't afford the education that we need to get? Why is it that we can't get healthcare? Why is it that we can't get all these things? Yeah, we will always be on the internet as children from a lesser God.
Society, yes.
Yeah. And when you look at what we have, all the resources that we have, you're like, actually, it doesn't have to be that way. Yeah. So I think exposure also is something. Yeah.
Like the world in becoming a global village. We've been using that loosely, but I mean, I'm seeing that in what you're saying, that, the world has become a global village, and everybody would maybe prescribe it according to their interest. Exactly. And I've never seen it that way, that, okay. So we've been happy that, we can connect, but connecting globally, this is also the opportunity it presents, that you are able to challenge your ambition.
Yes. Yeah.
That, so sisi wa huku nyuma tuliambiwa this is the best, but they tukaamini because there was nothing to check against. So, and we believed the uncle. Who was the only one connected to the outside world.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I'm liking this. I'm liking this. And apart from that element of connectivity, there are attributes that have come up, or that the young people have shown. I would just like us to probably, speak to some of those attributes that we have gotten to see that have now become synonymous to Kenyan youth, because that's the identity that we are talking about. Yes.
I think one of the things that have come out from all these protests is that, as I said, people are watching. The young people, they want accountability at the end of the day. The young people want honesty in a country where corruption ranks. I think I was doing some stats the other day. I think we are number 140 out of 180. That we're really doing badly. Like you're almost.
Your report card ni mbaya.
Yeah, ni mbaya, you get. So these are people are saying, probably the previous society has been used to toa kitu kidogo, or you can bribe your way through things. You can be corrupt and get away with it. And they're saying, no, it doesn't work like that. So that aspect of people want accountability, they want honesty, they want integrity. We have an entire, what do you call it here, the EACC, an entire tax-funded institution to actually check on corruption. And then people are saying we don't have to rely on those institutions. We can be those institutions. Given an example, talking of institutions, look at IPOA, for example. IPOA is supposed to ensure that the police work within their line. They're not working. So who will work? It's young people, right? EACC, you're supposed to ensure there is no corruption. You're not working, who will do it? It's the young people. We are going to fold our shirts and we're going to ensure those systems are working. If you're going to be having people shoot people in the street and life moves on, no, we are saying no. We are going to demand accountability from you, and it's going to go like that. If, for example, the president says some particular things will be done and they're not going to be done, we will ask you why. So that's this character, this brave character that is coming out, that yes, we do have systems, and if they're not working, we will call them out at the end of the day.
And I think for me, the shocker, as you're saying that, is that for once, I'm seeing young people that have time for their country. Imagine they have all the time.
Yes.
You know, because the other things that have made things probably take longer to get better is always you're thinking, okay, I want this to change, but do I have the time? Because I must fend for myself. I mean, we are living, right?
Yes.
There are other things. I must still exist in my privileges. Yeah. Do I have time? Do I have time to read through the policies? Do I have time to go to the participation processes that are there? Do I? And we've seen probably previously, the only people that consistently would show up for such would be those that are within the civic spaces, you see. Not just, you're just a citizen who is interested to see your country get better. And for me, that attribute of just being, like you have time. Like they have time. They have time to unpack everything and anything.
Activism is a career, by the way. Activism was a career for specific people. So long as you're calling out the government or calling out things are not working. But nowadays you say that now this is a responsibility for everyone.
And it's not even it's not even coming across as activism.
Yes.
It's coming across as I am a citizen and I have a right to be involved. And if you don't involve me, I will find ways. I have time to even look for alternative ways how to access the information. And after I have gotten this information, I have time, and I also create platforms that are easy for others to digest. Like, I'm not going to have this by myself. We must move together.
Exactly.
So for me, I've never seen that. I'm like, wow. It's not just about an individual. It's a collective. Like, I want all of you to know that there's a provision for this, there's a provision for that. And then, everybody would go their way and they would still be thinking of, okay, in my way, in my capacity, within my expertise, what can I design? Which movements can I bring together? So for me, that has been like mind-blowing.
Yes.
I think also just as of one of the values I'm also seeing is just standing on business, because these are the same people that gave us what we are giving them back. The education that they gave us is what we are giving them back. The church that we went to is what we're giving them back, because they were used to them as values is just show up, be seen. But as we're like, this is what it reads, why is it different? This is what the Constitution says, why is this not being implemented? So at the end of the day, they cannot come back and say, young people, you're wrong. Young people are just reading what is on the Constitution. Young people are just saying, actually, you took me to church all my life, and corruption is actually something that God doesn't like, and can we stand on that? And also just seeing that bribing your way through takes way longer, it's painful, but if systems actually work, no one needs to bribe anyone. Yeah, things will just move and things will just work. So they're just saying we don't want shortcuts anymore. We've seen where shortcuts lead us, and this is where shortcuts lead us. This right here where we are as a country, this is because of shortcuts. So if we just did things the right way, let's align. Let's just make things smooth so that we can actually move forward. I think cognitive dissonance for a lot of the older generation, because they're just like, you people actually want to do the right thing. And they're like, you people don't know what you're saying. The world can't work if you're doing the right thing. But then again, they're like, let's give it a shot, because it seems like we've not actually given it a shot. Yeah, let's try it and see it actually doesn't work. This is the best way that we can do things.
Unakoroga pabaya.
I said what I said.
Though we must be a bit cautious. Must be a bit cautious because there's a narrative that may flow from this. It's only the young people who want change. It's only the young people who want systems to work. Everyone else in Kenya wants things to remain the way they are. I think what the young people have done, they have spoken for the broader,
Collective.
Yes, they have said, you may have lacked that voice, but this is what we also feel. Yes. Because now if we start demarcating now and saying, already the country is divided along tribal lines. That's what politicians feed from. That's how they manage to convince masses. We can't hand them another blank check of generation. I had a very popular, is it MP or whatever, he was saying, we must tell this generation that things don't have to work the way they want, that this is not just their country. That's a narrative now they want to
push. Yeah.
Yes.
I like what you're saying because it is coming to the labeling, which is an outcome again of the conversation we are having. And it has happened a lot and throughout the entire process.
Yes.
I mean, it's still ongoing. It's happening. And people are very quick to always throw labels because they want to to know who are these people.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's the socialization, and we must know who we are against. So they are quick. So if you haven't labeled yourself already, there's been openness to label you as well. And I see the danger that you are presenting because then there are those that are not within that labeling or that cohort who have who are equally interested to see this country become the best country it can become, to see all systems working. But then because they are not part of the current labeling, they are feeling like, kwani sisi hakuna kitu tumefanya. Yeah. So I'm also saying that is something that can work against a cause that is good and would benefit all, because we have people across the generations who want the best, and in their own way, they are. And I think as we think around this subject, it would be good then to even try to unpack a little bit the level of involvement. Does it matter? Because also we have seen a lot of backlash as an outcome. I know it's not it's not an attribute to the individuals, but it's just something that, everybody has been greeted or not greeted. I don't know. Yeah.
Some form of shame.
Yeah.
Being shamed for not being in the protest. I mean protest in a different way. Just to pick up from what you were saying about demarcating generations, maybe we forgot that one of the guys who was shot on 25th last year was actually an old man, 39 years old. Yeah. The lady who was arrested the other day, Rosenjerry, 35-year-old. So when you have this conversation, it's being about change. It's being amplified by the young people. We can say it's Gen Z-led change. They're leading from the front. But there are other people from behind doing work at the end of the day. If I wake up in the morning and decide, I can't afford, like Rosenjerry, for example, I think she's a mother of two, if I'm not wrong. I can't afford to be in the streets. But hey, I have skills. I can design a website that will encourage public participation. That in itself should be seen as a way of asking, my contribution, and asking for accountability. Yes.
Now that you have jumped the gun, I have to just follow up a question. I know I asked that. I know there was another question, but I have to ask this one.
Yes.
Why is it then almost looking like the other stakeholders are not looking at these attributes as a resource? So if I have expertise and I can use that to increase the number of citizens that become more aware, that add to the voice, why is that not seen as a resource? Why is that then shut down?
You want to go first?
I mean, I feel like it's on the level of people's understanding and how people internalize some of these issues, because even in a household, during a crisis, not everyone can do the same thing.
Correct.
Some are bringing water, some are doing other things to support the larger cause. So for me, I am not ready to shoot someone down and be like, oh, because you're not going to the streets with me, you're not contributing. For me, even, I feel like even a contribution that's actually a really big contribution is when you're in those rooms and in those spaces whereby you can use your voice, where you know it really counts, where you're seated next to these people and you can use your voice in that instance, when you can sit down and say, actually, we will not take a bribe. Actually, let's just follow the process. Actually, let's just do the right thing. I feel like that's more of a protest and a more of a really big contribution, because it's change that might seem minute, but it does go a long way in changing the system. And because that's what we are really asking for, system change. Yeah, the systems that need to change, the corrupt systems. But then again, also, I know how it feels when it feels like it's someone else's burden to go to the street. And you, for whatever reason, perhaps you feel like, may I just stay in the house? But it's someone else's responsibility. Yeah, but at what point do we say, now that's my responsibility and that's someone else's? It's not theirs. Solidarity is also needed on the streets to go and preach this message, and it's also a right. It's only that it's a right that is still being used against us. Yeah, so I wouldn't even fault the person that doesn't want to go. I'd fault the people that are taking away this right from the Kenyans to actually go out to the streets and picket, because it is well within their rights. Yeah.
When you protest, when you go for mandamanos, every media house is there. You know, there's a sort of thing that the demonstrations do. They stop business. Nobody goes to town. Nobody does what. Nobody, you know, it has a shock about it. It's a one-stop shock. As opposed to that tweet, that website, that podcast. You understand? The impact of this podcast, we may not be able to measure that, the impact of this podcast immediately. It may take a while. But now if you look at the demonstrations or the mandamanos, it's immediate.
Yeah.
You know, there is, just to give an example of last year, and what a coincidence we're doing it almost to the eve of what happened last year. The whole cabinet was dismissed, you remember? After the mandamano, you understand? So there's a way that when people go out, the impact is felt immediately, as opposed to these very small, small things. So that's why people feel, if you're not being out there, then probably you're not doing much. Yet perhaps the small that you're doing will also have same impact, either that point or at some point in the future. Yes.
Yeah.
Now I'm wondering, there's been labeling on that the strategy that is employed is just one.
We need to have 7 strategies.
No, because then the issues here are contentious, right?
Yeah.
Around why people want to, protest and want to say we want this and that to change. They are very, very contentious issues. And there are people who feel like, okay, give us time. They will change, but give us time. But we want change now. Does that mean there is no other ways that we can go about mediating, this matter? And why I'm bringing that here is because we can also almost hear from other people, you will do this until when?
Yes,
that is one thing that you'd hear. Okay, you have done this. What next?
Yeah.
What
have you accomplished by doing this?
Yes.
Has it not brought more turmoil, more
Yes.
pain,
Exactly.
more,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, my stand would be, we need to do this until the voices of the people are heard. Yeah. And the struggle is over until the struggle is over. So it's not upon the people demanding for better things to say now the struggle is over. It's when the people who are being presented with these things to say, actually, we have heard, and these are the things we are doing, or these are the things that we have put in place. Then, when they've put these things in place, then the struggle can be over. Yeah, I know perhaps we're looking for, like, we want to go back to how things were, we want to go back to our usual normal, which I totally understand, because as you've said, when we're protesting, things come to a halt. Yeah, there's some homes where there's no food because people were protesting. It is the price to pay, although when we're demanding for better, when we're asking for a better situation, because if we also look at it at a bigger lens, if we keep quiet now, then we risk going back to where we left, or even worse. So that's the thing. And also look at what people are asking for. Is it that we're asking for the wrong things? You know, I would say we're asking for actually things that make sense. The young people are actually saying, we matter. Yeah, the police cannot bully and kill us on the streets, and we just continue like it's business as usual. So that does matter, because even in the Constitution, right to life, human life is important. So we're just going back to the books that we read, that they gave us. Yeah.
Oh, wow, I think I'm about to get boring, but it's fine, because you guys invited me here, so you have to pay the price.
Okay. Wow.
You have to listen by force. Conflict resolution, you asked about that, why I'm passionate probably about that. I'll share an analogy. I'm sure everybody, I was shocked when I saw the Gen Z saying, oh, you saw Iran retaliate. I was like, oh, guys, you watch international news. And what has been happening in the Middle East, where we have this Israel and Iran war, throwing missiles here, blah, blah, blah. There's something called escalation. At some point, if this is not working, then we go for a bigger, bomb or whatever it is. One that will send an impact at the end of the day. We have members of parliament. We told them we don't want house levy. Go and vote against it. They didn't.
Yeah.
IPOA, please investigate. You don't. EACC, please do this and this. You do not. Where do we turn to at the end of the day? We have to look for the most powerful, the most, the loudest language you can hear is when we show up in those particular streets and actually demonstrate, and now let you know now live, whatever we are saying. Talking about demonstrations, why are they not other things? I'm yet to see anywhere, maybe I may be wrong historically, that people have used anything else other than demonstration. Look at like Martin Luther King. They had to demonstrate about racism in the US. Some changes here and there, but we have never felt those changes yet.
The Arab uprising as well.
I wanted to actually mention that. You read my mind. Arab uprising. It worked, It began Tunisia. Ben Ali left. We went to Egypt. Mubarak left. We went to Libya. Gaddafi left. We went to Syria recently. Assad left. So I think that is the boldest language, the language of the people that can actually be heard, because systems can be corrupted. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. I have to repeat that again. And let me tell you something that many people don't know. You'll be lucky if you go before a magistrate or a judge who is not corrupt. That's your greatest fear as an advocate.
That is so heartbreaking.
Yeah, because you're like, if a particular magistrate or judge is known to be corrupt, bro, we're just screwed, because they will pass, funny judgments, and that can really be can really hurt. So these same systems can be corrupted. So therefore, if every system is corrupted, the only one that cannot be corrupted is the streets.
But you see, what you're expressing is bringing that element of hopelessness. Like the fight that is being fought is great. Like, can we even? Will it be in this lifetime? Because things are rooted now. These are not things of yesterday. So I don't know. Are we going to have young people that just, lose their youthful years then?
Demonstrating.
Yeah.
That's tough. For me, actually, that's what I was thinking about, right? Because we're like in the middle of technology, AI. There's a lot that can be done to build this country. Yeah, so much. So much. But if all the energy of the young people every year is on the streets. When are we building? Because it is the young people building society. Yeah. So what happens then? You know, what will Kenya look like in the next 20 years? Should we be scared? Yeah. And also, just what you've said, like the fears that are there is, what if this takes a different tangent, whereby it takes way longer to come back?
Than expected, yes.
Yeah. And the little that we had, now we don't have any little anymore. Yeah. So those are some of the fears that are also being expressed, because I also feel like the people that are saying, actually, let's not go to the streets, are not saying it from a light of they're not supporting the cause, but they're just scared that, guys, you don't know, this can go really left for us. Yeah. And it can be really worse than what it is. So what happens then? You know, how does the future look like? Considering these are young people, the most strong people in the society and the economy. Productive. So it's just a question mark, I feel like. It's just there.
I'd want to probably answer that question. Are we not yet in our worst place? How worse can we?
Oh.
What worst are you waiting for? What else are we waiting for as a country? You know, political stability and economic stability go hand in hand.
I wasn't ready.
You know, it goes hand in hand. So what is it then? Okay, I'm trying to imagine.
Okay.
Let's try and create a utopian, let's try and use our imagination. No demonstrations, no more demonstrations. Let's decide
Yeah, we pause.
young people,
No.
Gen Zs, millennials. No, we have. What options do we have? Which other language?
How about these attributes? We put them into action.
In a system that doesn't allow...
He said we paint a picture.
Oh, it's
No.
just utopia. Damn, sorry.
Which attributes are these?
The grit that we saw, the boldness, you know, the being present. I have never seen a generation that is as present as this one. I have never seen.
But then there has to be a reward. You know, the utopian we're trying to create here, I think it will just end immediately now. Do you know why?
Why?
Because if I talk about grit, about the creativity that we need as to mean, you have to be creative. People are already doing that already. I'm making some money, then government systems and policies, SHA, GWAT, this. We have the infrastructure to actually allow these dreams to actually live. This grit to actually live, it must survive somewhere. It must survive somewhere.
The environment has to be enabling.
Indeed.
Precisely. I want to ask a question, which also kind of shocked me. Again, I'm going back to my boring topics of conflict.
Those topics are the ones that I
was shocked when the international media went to Iran. You know, Iran has been under sanctions, but the systems are advanced. I mean, you can't compare that country to a country like Kenya, where we enjoy a lot of, political blah, blah, blah. Why is that? Why then can't we transform this country to become like that? We have the answers, government policy.
It's policies, yeah.
It's policies, exactly. To register a company now in Kenya, you are required to pay to the company, to the registry, around 10,000, 11,000 Gs. Bro, I've just started life. Where am I getting this money from? At the end of the day, unemployment is high. You're making. This wasn't supposed to be a political talk show, but let me just say it. If I am sick, say malaria, you will create an environment for me to get better.
Correct.
There'll be medicine, balanced diet, all that stuff. You can't create an environment for me to get more sick. You remove the things that are supposed to make me feel better, right? We have an employment rate in this country. In these Gen Zs who are protesting, who will be there on the streets on Wednesday. Why then are you putting such kind of bottlenecks for people who are trying to recover, people who are trying to come out from this? There's content creation nowadays, what we are doing now. They're saying, oh, well, if you make money, give us some taxes, and it's high tax. Bro, we're trying to come kutoka block, as they say, kutoka block, and then now you're coming here with. It doesn't work like that. There has to be something that will come out from that.
I think another problem that we have, as we're trying not to make this political, but everything is political. Even my house with my dog, it's very political. So
you're a dog mom.
What is political there?
We'll get into that.
Just a master.
But when you look at it this way also, whereby the systems are so corrupt that the people that are going to school to make the systems better are not getting into those rooms. People are studying, getting PhDs, people who can actually go and audit these policies and tell us this is why this cannot work, this is what can work for Kenya and its situation. But they're not getting into these rooms. They're not being given these jobs because people are hiring based off of my cousin, my auntie, my sister, my friend, my what, but not because of qualifications. So we do have a big problem, and it's a systematic problem. And the people that can change these systems are saying these people are too young to understand what is happening in those rooms. So there's nothing as bad as someone trying to bring out their voice and actually say the right thing, and then you're telling them you don't know what you're saying because you're 19, you're 25, you're 26. So I feel like from the young people, there is goodwill, but they also need to be heard. And not just heard, they go, you sit the way your parents would cheza you, you go, you sit, you present your case, and then the next day they've just done the opposite of what they promised. No, we actually just because if I'm paying taxes at 25 and I'm employed, I'm paying taxes, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
I am a grown-up by that fact. But when we're talking about issues that affect me, I become a child. So to me, I'm just like, it's like they've just refused to listen to these young people on the streets and to actually decide that Kenya is ready to take a turn to say, okay, where did we lose ourselves? How can we bring this back so that these systems can work? And if Iran can have systems that work for them, surely who is Kenya?
I think as I'm listening to both of you struggle to this is not a political.
It is a political conversation.
This is actually a reflection of where we have gotten in real time as a society.
Exactly.
And even as we are looking at this from the lens of how is it impacting young people's identity, it's actually the whole society's identity again. Coming now to, when did it become an issue for you to have interest in understanding political processes and how they impact you? Because then what we have also seen now is the labeling that is coming. Instead of you as a young person looking for work, why are all of you becoming?
Yes.
It's like now the only profession that you have embraced is in finding fault in a system that is there for you, quote unquote.
But the question is it finding fault?
That is the perception that has been put out there because of
fault.
It's part of that you're finding fault. That you've already raised your voice. You are met somewhere, but you are not happy. So you are still. So
you're still raising your voice.
It's like you are this stomach that is never getting full. Almost to mean that that you must have just been grateful with where we have gotten. Calm down. We are gonna get there.
It's a good question.
A follow-up question to that. Now imagine if you're employed, then your employer, we decide on JDs is what's supposed to happen, and then you tell your employer, are you just tosheka with whatever I've done? See, I've just shown up here for from 8 to 10. You just tosheka with what I've done. See, I'll be here kesho, see you tomorrow. These are 2-year contract. I'll show up here for the next 2 years. It doesn't happen like that in the private sector.
It doesn't.
Why should we allow it? And that's probably the question the young people are asking. Why is it allowed that in public sector people can do and say things and get away with it? There's no accountability. You get used to it. Like, we gave you a CS, we gave you this, now get used to that.
Be happy.
Yeah.
But I do think, where are also our ambitions as a country, right? I feel like the public sector should even outdo the private sector. People should want and desire to be more in the public sector, not because it's not managed well, so you can get away with a lot of corrupt deals and things of that nature, but because you do work that's meaningful and you're serving your community, you're serving your country. It's literally service. Yeah. So I think for us also, Kenyan youth are just saying, let's reimagine a different public sector whereby it actually works for the people. Yeah, that people would actually want to go to a public university, public school, public hospital
yes.
instead of going to a private institution. So I think Kenya has reached a place whereby we need to reimagine a lot of these systems, and change is not also easy. But what is the cost of not changing?
You know, we started this off looking at attributes, and we only got to 2. Like,
Conversation just
no.
too interesting. You could wait for the juicy stuff.
Yeah, because and that is what this process has actually done, even to the young people. That even I don't think they've had a minute to even pat themselves on the back.
Yeah.
To say, I am present, I love this country, and I want to contribute to it, and it is in this way I can contribute, because mambo ni mengi na masaa ni machache, clearly, you know. But I think it would be important to hear even one more, because as much as, you know, we don't want to leave people just feeling as bad as the situation is. Yes, because we are saying, because of whatever perceptions people have about young people, unfortunately, I mean, you're supposed not to be too loud. You're not supposed to be knowing too much. But then it's an opportunity for us to also say, wow, you have given us hope. You have given us urgency. You've given us a moment to question our morality, you know. Like, we can't be saying this and doing that.
I think a value I can give them that to me I find very, very impressive is they've managed to be a good example to everyone.
Are they?
They are, actually. Standing up for justice, standing up for what is true and what is right, and saying, actually, no, we are not doing that. Actually, this matters. Yeah? And you can imagine what will that do to other generations that are actually very keen and watching. They're affirming who they are, and there's this thing they keep saying, kujitambua na kujijua. They feel like wanajitambua na wanajijua. Like, they know who they are, they know they are valued, and they value themselves as well. So to me, those are values that no one can take away from them. And even that being a good example, I feel like we undercut it so much, but you tell me a time whereby we can sit down and say, yeah, these youth people are being such a good example. When? Right now is when we can actually sit and say, actually, yeah, let's hear what this young person has to say, because they're not only speaking, they're actually doing as well. Because being an example is not just, do as I say, don't do as I do. Then they're saying, I am doing, and I'll speak about it as well. So I'm not just speaking, I'm actually doing. Yeah, so it's commendable. Yeah.
I think the bitter pill to swallow probably is that all this is new.
Yeah.
It's new to the adults in the room, because
Exactly.
it has been that, those that influence, those that mentor, those that show the way, even from our African society, it's the elders that we are supposed to listen to. They're supposed to be the voice of reason. And I'm not saying that some of them are not. We still have elders that are voice of reason. Yeah. But because that is how we have been socialized, it's becoming very, very difficult to take this guidance from people that are probably supposed to be at the receiving end. They're supposed to be guided. So you wait, we guide you. But now we are reversing the roles.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's where the even backlash probably is coming from, which also is challenging. Like, even when you are the person who, because of your seniority, you're supposed to be leading the way. Have we embraced humility as leaders, as parents, as, elderly people of the society, to be able to also acknowledge that you can actually be led by somebody who is younger than you. They are seeing it from a different lens. They are seeing it from, an angle that you might not see it because maybe of, you're used to it. Familiarity, rather.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that also has been greatly challenged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they challenged the idea that leadership is determined by age,
Yes.
which is crazy. And leadership, and they're actually challenging the whole concept of leadership. What is leadership? Who is a leader? How do we say this person can lead and this person cannot lead us? So, and I feel like in Kenya, these are things that are very, when we're choosing our leaders, it's very emotional and very, we're not talking about values, we're not talking about this leader, this is their track record and whatnot. And that's the politics they want us to stay at. And these youth are saying we need to do this politics a bit differently because the cost is also very, very high if we choose leaders based off other factors other than leadership skills and someone who can actually show up as a good leader. So, well,
Here we are.
Maybe another thing that the young people have shown us, don't be a pushover. Yeah, like, we always, okay, tutakubali tu, no.
Kubali
Hakuna kubali ishe. Makosa metendeka tuendelee, no. As in, used to going to get maybe a service, public service, but like come after 2 weeks, why not now? That's a question that nobody used to ask. If I'm here to get, if I'm ordering pizza from wherever, they'll bring it now because I'm paying for it at the end of the day. But then here I am, a taxpayer. If I go to a hospital, if I go to a school, if I go to get my ID of all things, most basic thing, a passport, or the passport machine is broken down, or come after 2 weeks for no specific reason. We saw that now it's possible for you to get a passport in 1 week.
It is actually.
Yeah, after all these mandamanos that we're saying probably they're not working, they are actually working.
things can work.
Yeah, you can actually now question and tell a person, no, I need that thing now. If you don't not give me a good reason why I cannot get this service now. Yeah.
And I think the greatest of all that probably will stay for us for the longest time is the ability to just be together.
Yes.
That was like, wow. So it can also happen. And it's a thing that if it's leveraged on,
Can I cut you short? I'm sorry. Just to mention something, I'll let you. It's your podcast, but I'll let you go on. With this.
You are the guest.
So I'm allowed to.
You're allowed to cut
You should
short.
have told me those rules. No, you should have told me you're allowed to cut people
Yeah,
short.
you're allowed to.
Please do.
Sawa. Now you're changing. Now the rules are last minute anyway. I went to donate blood during that protest. In the history of this country is what, 60 what years? There has never been a time when there was, what do you call it? The people who are donating blood had, what's the word? Aki Kizungu.
Agency?
Not urgency. They could not sustain that demand.
Oh, like there were more people.
To donate.
They're not even talking about more people. We're saying we don't have the capacity. Now you guys have to go home.
And the way they usually do drives
Yeah,
to
they're always in
mobilize.
schools.
Yeah.
That period after the protest, talking about unity, go to KNH, they're like, no, just go. If okay, we'll take your blood, but you have to wait until 3 a.m. If you get there like 4 p.m., give us like 5 hours. We're going to get to you. Well, since you the blood, I didn't even know there's a department that collects blood. They're like, mmekuja kufanya. Like we can't just come tomorrow or come a week later because we cannot sustain. So talking about unity, if there is a takeaway that you can get from all that, from the young people, they unified Kenyans.
Yeah.
People showed up, just take blood, Other guys, you're underweight, no, you just take it. Even if I die, it's fine. You get. So that idea of unity, Look at even what happened to this guy who was shot. Is it Albert?
Yeah.
People were out there, you know.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, who has been abducted? Free who? So if I'm next, you guys have a poster. Free Kuria. So free this. It's something that used to happen. They're like, who's that mjinga nafanya nini? But nowadays, people are unified. They're unified, yes.
Wow.
That unity. Yes.
Yeah, I think because of the outcomes everybody has seen, it always feels very like we are walking on eggshells.
Exactly.
Like, oh my God, can we say this?
Yeah.
Can we not? But I think for us here, the point was to also put our voice there to say, as much as the cause is to see a better country, the process is impacting young people.
It is.
And there are attributes that are positive, that even as a country, we can embrace and increase our, the ideal
And leverage on it.
and leverage on them, actually. Yeah.
True.
And I didn't think there were this many. I was busy complaining.
There could be more.
It's only that we don't have the time. But
Yes. I
yeah.
was told there's a pastor who preached somewhere. They said, you tell people you're preaching about 10 points, then you just get halfway. So they invite you again. So I have more.
You have to come back.
I have like 20. So you better call me again on this podcast.
For the other.
Yeah, and the remaining ones are really weak.
Healthier
than this.
one.
It's okay. You can use this time to give us your parting shots.
My parting shots? By the way, I forgot to say that I'm a recreational runner. I think semi-pro. Yeah, semi-pro. And my parting shot is sometimes, the longest I've done is, I do half marathons. And my parting shot is this. Sometimes when you're enrolling for these races, you don't know how it's going to end up. You just train, eat well, do your physio, do your whatever, take your supplements, enough sleep, then show up. You don't know how it's going to be. So if you see 1,000 athletes, everybody wants to win. Nobody goes there, hey, I want to come number 2, number 3, number 10. No. Everybody they're there to actually win. They don't know how it's going to turn out at the end of the day. Same thing with whatever is happening in the country. Show up in your own space. If you're able to, if you think that going to Mandamano will change this country, show up. If you think having that website is going to change this country, do it. If you think a podcast will change this country, do it. If you think running aimlessly like I do will change this country, then do it. That's just show up.
I thought you would finish it by saying within the confinement of the law.
I mean, my parting shots are contribute the best way you can to the struggle. And I am hopeful that we will see a better Kenya. Yeah. And our voices do matter in whatever capacity that we show up. Yeah. If you're showing up online, if you're showing up on the streets, show up. Yeah. We are all scared. I feel like no one, even me seated here, I'm terrified. Yeah. No one was given a manual for this. We were not. And we still have to show up because we want a better country. We want a country that works for everyone, not just for a selected few. Yeah.
Yeah, and from Tangawizi, we are giving you your flowers as a young Kenyan who has been able to be bold, has been able to amplify, the need for us to have a better, greater, the best country yet. We give you your flowers. And we wish you that you can also use this or continue using this positive attributes in all the facets of your life.
Yeah.
Until next time, keep it safe. Be patriotic. Yeah.